There's a sense of shock in Minnesota, but to be honest, right across the whole of the US at the moment, because we have seen the political rhetoric really amp up in that country, and obviously we're approaching the first anniversary of the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump as well. So there's shock everywhere that an individual could go to a lawmaker's house, someone doing the business, been elected, doing the business of their state, and shoot down their spouse like this, travel to a second house. He had a list in his car of other lawmakers, and some of them have been speaking out as well. And they kind of have that sense of, gosh, that could be me.
Yeah, US Senators now demanding tighter security, and I understand why. Because it's not just as it appears that there is a rise in political violence in other parts of the US as well. This is a real concern.
It is a real concern at this point, and you have very high tensions, and this spilled over actually in Capitol Hill yesterday with US senators, where a Senator Mike Lee of Utah had tweeted about, this is what happens when Marxist protesters go along those lines, which just caused all of the other senators, largely Republicans and Democrats, to just be shocked that his first reaction wouldn't have been to condemn this, which he did do later in the day. But he was confronted by one of the Minnesota senators, Tina Smith, physically in a hallway of Capitol Hill, saying, people are dead here. These are people like us doing the job of politicians. So he did later recant that, but she said she thought he was shocked. She was building on an already incredibly polarized country. And we talk about so much stuff, all of our output about these clashes that happened. We saw it at the weekend. President Trump having a parade in Washington DC of military celebrating his birthday. At the same time, tens of thousands of people were protesting in all 50 states under the banner of No Kings against President Trump. And you have the protests in LA and in other places about the immigration policies of this president as well. So there's a lot of tension there.
What's basically Trump been saying? Rhetoric we hear.
Well, he's quite occupied at the moment with dealing with the Iran-Israeli situation, so we haven't heard a lot from him about this situation, other than to say that he wouldn't be going to Minnesota at this time. He may go at a later point. There's a great tradition in America when there are tragedies like this, that the sitting president would travel to the area, meet the families. These are Democratic lawmakers, so, again, it's just another example of how sometimes people don't want members of the other party to come and see them either. But we'll see how that plays out. It's obviously, as you saw in the clip there, it's still incredibly raw.
Katrina Perry speaking to me a short time ago. Do stay with us here on BBC News. We'll bring you the very latest from Ukraine, the day of mourning in Kyiv after the devastating strikes of 2 nights ago. Do stay with us. Hello, let's take a look at our satellite picture across Africa. You can see a number of showers coming in from the Gulf of Guinea. Some big widespread downpours in Nigeria at the moment. And this front of storms is going to be pushing westwards, so Benin, Togo, into Ghana. We'd like to see those storms go through Thursday. Now, further northwards, we've got lots of dry and sunny weather on the cards, but Somalia, some quite strong monsoon winds working in here, gusts of wind which are 50 to 60 kilometres an hour, particularly across the northern areas of Somalia, so quite a windy kind of day here. There's also sunshine for Cairo, sunshine hazy. Now looking at the weather picture over the next few days, clouds increasing in Nairobi, we'll likely see some showers building in here by the end of the week, and into the weekend beyond as well. Looking dry for Marrakesh, hot and sunny with temperatures hitting the 40-degree mark on Thursday, before just coming down degrees or so into the weekend. Now for the Middle East, we've got some quite strong shamal winds in the forecast for Iraq and Kuwait through Thursday, with the gust of wind picking to around 50 to 60 kilometres an hour. Winds that strong are strong enough to bring some areas of lifted dust and a few sandstorms. Some of those could then work into the northeastern side of Arabia. Perhaps the skies turning rather hazy by itself. Otherwise, sunshine across the board.
Ancient tea culture is once again sweeping across China. Tea ceremonies are huge and fashionable, and I've been lucky enough to be invited to one.
Oh, thank you, Miss Lee. Thanks, William.
Vivian Wen is studying to become a tea master herself. It's a long process. Even pouring the pots can take years to perfect.
So you have to practice this thousands of times. I'm not exaggerating that because Miss Lee told me.
Well, you or I might just fill up the teapot. A trained tea master will prepare it differently than each guest. The taste of the tea changes depending on whether hot water is poured directly onto the tea leaves or not.
According to the situation, according to the guests, you can let the water, splash onto the leaves, and that would stimulate the fragrance and aroma.
After our first cup, Miss Lee presents me with a fresh pot of tea that's been brewed in a different way.
Instant difference. It already has that bitter note that's coming through. The aftertaste.
Yes.
The aftertaste.
So fragrant.
Yeah.
The models wear costumes for men and women, inspired by outfits spanning the 8 decades of Empress Wu's long life.
If you don't play the sport, think of Maria Callas, more free.
As a writer, I care so much about the human imagination, our creativity, about our ability to tell stories. Just imagine our lives without storytelling.
Inspiring arts and culture on BBC News.
This is BBC News, the headlines. Multiple blasts have been heard in Tehran. Iran's supreme leader saying any form of US military intervention will undoubtedly be met with irreparable harm as Israel and Iran continue trading strikes. The Israeli Air Force says it hit Iranian missile-making factories and facilities which produce centrifuges for a nuclear weapons program. This is the scene live right now in Kyiv. It's the day after Russian attacks killed 26 people. President Zelensky said it was one of the most horrific bombardments. As the UK government says the small boat situation in the English Channel is deteriorating, we report from northern France on these new tactics being used by people smuggling gangs. Hello, I'm Lucy Hopkins. Let's look now at the small boat situation in the English Channel. Down the street saying the situation is deteriorating, with French police struggling to halt the potentially record-breaking surge of people reaching the UK. These are people in small boats, organised by a growing network of smuggling gangs. More than 16,500 people across the channel this year alone. That's up 45% on the same period last year. We'll be live with Andrew Harding in a moment. He's on the beaches of northern France. But let's first see his report on the challenge faced by the authority as smuggling gangs change the tactics.
Serene stretch of French sand south of Calais, the end of another busy night. Below, some of the many hundreds of people who've been trying to dodge the police and catch a ride on a smuggler's boat. And here's how that struggle has been playing out. Moments earlier, on the very same beach, dozens of criminals gathering in the shallows. Camerawoman Leah Gedge way down towards them. The boat circles, people waiting their turn as if queuing for a bus or a taxi. On board, the man on the left appears to be directing orders.
Just moving forwards to try and get on board.
You going to get on?
Yeah.
You go to England?
Yeah. Last on, families, some struggling. There are people here from Afghanistan, Eritrea. The so-called taxi bus system is the smugglers' latest tactic. They launch the boats in secret, sometimes up to 100 kilometres away, then cruise along the coast picking up passengers and avoiding the police.
This is the problem with the French police. As soon as these migrants are in the water, the police say they cannot intervene.
So 18 police officers stand and watch.
Those people in Britain watching these pictures and thinking, surely the French police can do more.
The police will be able to be more effective when our government changes the rules to authorize us to intercept the boat when it's already in the water. But we need to be careful not to put the migrants, including children, in more danger.
It's been clear for days that another surge of small-boat crossings was coming, a build-up of people in the camps, good weather forecast. And so, a last proper meal for Luna from Somalia before she sets off again. How many times have you tried to cross?
Me, I tried 12 times.
Can you swim?
No, I don't swim. It's risky.